Before we dive in, I want to know, where are you watching this from? Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing where our community is tuning in from around the world. And if you're ready for a story about a young couple who looked like they had it all together but were secretly drowning, hit that like button right now and share this with someone who needs to hear that it's possible to break free from debt. Let's get into it. Have you ever looked at someone's social media and thought they had the perfect life, the perfect house, the perfect vacations, the perfect relationship? Have you ever felt like everyone else has it figured out except you? Have you ever kept secrets from the people closest to you because you were too ashamed to admit the truth? This is the story of Tyler and Ashley Morrison, a 28 and 27-year-old couple from Nashville, Tennessee, who looked absolutely perfect on Instagram. Beautiful house, trendy furniture, exotic vacations, designer clothes, date nights at expensive restaurants. Their feed looked like a lifestyle magazine. Their friends envied them. Their families were proud of them. Everyone thought they were crushing life. But behind the carefully curated posts and the filtered photos was a terrifying reality. Tyler and Ashley had accumulated $127,000 in credit card debt. Not student loans, not a mortgage, not medical bills, credit card debt. From shopping, dining out, traveling, and desperately trying to look successful, and they were drowning, hiding it from everyone, lying to each other, on the verge of losing everything. This isn't a story about people who made one mistake. This is about a couple who made 1,000 small decisions that added up to a financial nightmare. And it's about what happened when they finally got honest, got help, and got radical about changing their lives. If you're watching this in 2026 and you're hiding debt from your spouse, your family, or yourself, you need to hear this story. Because Tyler and Ashley's journey from Instagram perfect to actually free proves that you can't budget your way out of a lifestyle problem. Tyler and Ashley met in college at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. They were both communications majors, both ambitious, both dreaming of successful careers in marketing and media. They started dating junior year, got engaged senior year, and married 6 months after graduation in the summer of 2017. They were 22 and 21 years old, young, in love, and full of plans. After college, they moved to Nashville. Tyler got a job at a marketing agency making $42,000 a year. Ashley got a job at a public relations firm making $38,000 combined. They were making $80,000 a year, which sounds like decent money for two 22-year-olds, and it would have been if they'd lived within their means. But they didn't. Tyler and Ashley had grown up middle class. Not poor, but not wealthy. Their parents had provided for them, but there hadn't been luxury, no designer clothes, no fancy vacations, no new cars, and somewhere along the way, both Tyler and Ashley had internalized a message that success meant looking successful, that you weren't really making it unless you had the things that proved it. When they moved to Nashville, they rented a nice apartment in a trendy neighborhood, $1,200 a month, which was stretching their budget, but they told themselves they deserved it. They furnished it with stuff from West Elm and Pottery Barn, all bought on credit. They told themselves they'd pay it off quickly. They bought a new car, a Jeep Wrangler, because Tyler had always wanted one. Financed, of course, $540 a month payment. Ashley started an Instagram account to document their life. She'd always been into photography and design. The account started innocently, just sharing their apartment, their outfits, their date nights. But slowly, it became something else. It became a performance. Ashley would spend hours staging photos of their breakfast, their coffee table, their outfits. She'd research trending hashtags. She'd study what other influencers were posting. And the account grew. 1,000 followers, 2,000, 5,000. The more followers Ashley gained, the more pressure she felt to keep up the aesthetic, to post the right things, to look the right way, and that required spending money they didn't have. A new dress for a photo shoot, a trendy restaurant for content, a weekend trip to create travel posts. It all seemed small at the time, $40 here, $80 there, but it added up. And it was all going on credit cards. Tyler wasn't innocent either. He felt pressure too. Pressure to take Ashley to nice places, pressure to have the coolest gear for his hobbies, pressure to keep up with his co-workers who seemed to have nicer things. He started buying expensive sneakers, $300 a pair, then $400. He'd tell himself it was an investment, that they'd hold value, but really, it was just spending he couldn't afford. By their first anniversary in 2018, Tyler and Ashley had accumulated $18,000 in credit card debt. They weren't worried. They told themselves it was normal, that everyone their age had debt, that they'd pay it off when they got raises, but the raises didn't come, or when they did, they were small, 3% here, 5% there, not nearly enough to close the gap between what they earned and what they spent. The problem was their lifestyle had inflated faster than their income. Every year they wanted more. Nicer vacations, better furniture, trendier clothes, and social media made it worse. Ashley was constantly comparing their life to other influencers, feeling like they needed to keep up. Tyler was comparing himself to college friends who seemed to be doing better. Neither of them was looking at the actual numbers, at what they could truly afford. They were just swiping cards and hoping it would work out. By 2019, the debt had grown to $38,000. Still, they didn't panic. They were making minimum payments. The cards hadn't been shut off. Everything seemed manageable. They told themselves they just needed to be more careful, to budget better, but they never actually did. They'd have conversations about cutting back, but then Ashley would see a dress she needed for content, or Tyler would want to buy concert tickets, and the spending would continue. Then came 2020, COVID hit. Tyler's marketing agency had to do layoffs. He survived, but his salary was cut 15%. Ashley's PR firm furloughed her for 3 months. Suddenly, they went from $80,000 a year to about $60,000, but their expenses didn't decrease. Their rent didn't go down. Their car payment didn't disappear. Their credit card minimums kept climbing. And with nowhere to go during lockdown, they spent even more money on home improvements, on online shopping, on delivery food because they were stressed and bored. When Ashley went back to work in August 2020, they'd added another $15,000 in debt. They were now at $53,000. Tyler looked at that number one night and felt sick. How did this happen? How did we let it get this bad? Ashley didn't want to talk about it. She was stressed, defensive. "We're fine," she'd say. "We're both working again. We'll catch up." But they didn't catch up. Through 2021, they kept spending. Not as recklessly as before, but still beyond their means. A vacation to Florida, new furniture for their living room, clothes, restaurants, little things that seemed harmless individually, but added up to thousands a month. By the end of 2021, they had $72,000 in credit card debt spread across 11 different cards. That's when things started breaking down. In January of 2022, one of Tyler's credit cards got declined at a gas station. He was humiliated. He came home and finally looked at all their statements. Really looked. 11 credit cards. $72,000 in debt. Minimum payments totaling $2,100 a month. And that was just the minimums. They weren't even touching the principal. At this rate, it would take them 30 years to pay off and cost them over $200,000 in interest. Tyler showed Ashley the numbers. She started crying. "I didn't realize it was this bad. How did we let this happen?" They had the fight they'd been avoiding for years. About the spending, about the Instagram account, about the pressure to look successful, about the lies they'd been telling themselves and each other. It wasn't a productive fight, just blame and shame and fear. They went to bed angry, scared, and still in denial about how serious this was. Over the next few months, they half-heartedly tried to cut back, but they didn't change their fundamental lifestyle. Ashley was still posting on Instagram, still buying things for content. Tyler was still spending on hobbies. They were like people bailing water out of a sinking boat without plugging the hole, and the debt kept growing because they were still spending more than they made, even with the cuts. By July of 2022, they'd hit $89,000 in debt. Tyler got a promotion that brought his salary back to $42,000. Ashley had switched jobs and was making $43,000. They were back to $85,000 combined income. But now their credit card minimum payments were $2,400 a month. Add in rent, car payment, insurance, food, utilities, and they were $600 short every single month. They were covering the gap by taking cash advances on new credit cards, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. The definition of a debt spiral. In September, things got worse. Ashley's car broke down. Needed $3,000 in repairs. They didn't have $3,000. So they put it on a credit card. That maxed out the card, and suddenly they couldn't use it anymore. Then Tyler needed dental work, not covered by insurance. $2,000. Another card maxed out. By October 2022, they had $103,000 in debt, and 6 of their 11 cards were maxed out. The stress was destroying them. They fought constantly. Tyler would yell about Ashley's spending on Instagram stuff. Ashley would yell back about Tyler's sneakers and concert tickets. Both were right. Both were wrong. Neither was addressing the real issue, which was that they'd built a lifestyle they couldn't afford, and neither wanted to give it up. In November, Ashley made a post on Instagram showing their beautiful Thanksgiving table. The photo got thousands of likes. Comments like, "Your life is goals," and "I wish I had it together like you." Ashley read those comments and felt sick. If they only knew. If they knew we can't pay our bills. If they knew we're drowning. If they knew this whole thing is a lie. That night, Ashley broke down. "Tyler, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending we're okay. I can't keep lying to people. I can't keep lying to myself. We need help. Real help." Tyler agreed, but he didn't know where to start. Who do we even talk to? Everyone thinks we're fine. Everyone thinks we're successful. How do we admit we've been faking it? Ashley remembered her mom had mentioned their church had a financial ministry, a program called Financial Peace that helped people get out of debt. Ashley had brushed it off at the time, church stuff, probably just telling people to pray more and give more. But now, desperate, she mentioned it to Tyler. Tyler was skeptical. "I don't know if church is the answer, but maybe someone there can point us in the right direction. If you're still watching, and this story is hitting close to home, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of people who are done pretending and ready to get real about their finances. Your support helps us keep making content that actually changes lives." In early December 2022, Tyler and Ashley attended their first financial peace class at a church in Nashville. They felt awkward, out of place. Everyone there was older. They felt like the youngest people in the room and definitely the most embarrassed. The class was led by a couple in their 50s named Mark and Jennifer. Mark started the session by sharing his own story. 20 years ago, my wife and I had $160,000 in debt. We lost our house. We almost lost our marriage. We were broke, broken and hopeless. But we got radical. We changed everything. And in 7 years, we paid it all off. Today, we're debt-free. Our marriage is stronger than ever, and we help other people find the freedom we found. Tyler and Ashley looked at each other. $160,000. They paid it off. Maybe this wasn't hopeless. After the class, they approached Mark and Jennifer, told them a condensed version of their story. $103,000 in credit card debt, Instagram lifestyle, drowning, ashamed. Mark didn't judge. He just said, "You're not alone. Half the people in this room have been exactly where you are. The question is, are you ready to do what it takes to change? Because it's going to be hard, really hard, but it's possible." Tyler and Ashley committed to the 13-week program. The first assignment was brutal. Write down every single debt, every card, every balance, every minimum payment, every interest rate. Look at it, all of it. Don't hide from it anymore. That night, Tyler and Ashley sat at their kitchen table with a spreadsheet and went through everything. Credit card 1, $9,200. Credit card 2, $12,800. Credit card 3, $8,400. On and on. 11 cards total. When they added it up, the number was worse than they thought. $107,384. They'd crossed 100,000 and didn't even realize it. Ashley cried. Tyler just sat there numb. How did we do this? How do we fix this? The next assignment was even harder. Track every single dollar you spend for 1 week. Every coffee, every meal, every Amazon order, everything. They'd never done this. They'd always just spent without thinking. But for 1 week, they wrote it down. The results were shocking. They spent $470 that week. Multiply that by 4, and they were spending almost $1,900 a month on food, coffee, random purchases. Their rent was $1,200. Car payment, $540. Insurance, $200. Utilities, $150. Gas, $200. Credit card minimums, $2,600. Total monthly expenses, $82.90. Their income after taxes was about $5,400. They were spending more than they made. Every single month. Mark explained the problem simply. You have an income problem and a spending problem. First, we fix the spending. Then we increase the income. You cannot budget your way out of this. You have to change your lifestyle fundamentally. Tyler asked, "What does that mean?" Mark said, "It means you stop trying to look successful and start actually being successful. It means you delete Instagram. You sell the car. You move to a cheaper place. You get second jobs. You live like no one else, so later you can live like no one else." Ashley panicked. "Delete Instagram. But that's my creative outlet. That's how I connect with people." Mark was gentle but firm. "Ashley, Instagram isn't your creative outlet. It's your addiction. It's the reason you're in debt. Every post requires spending money to maintain the aesthetic. You're literally paying thousands of dollars a month to impress people who don't care about you. Is that worth your marriage, your future?" Ashley knew he was right, but the thought of deleting her account, her 12,000 followers, her carefully curated feed, felt like losing her identity. Tyler reached for her hand. "Babe, we have to do this. We can't keep living this lie." Ashley nodded, tears streaming. Okay, I'll do it." That night, Ashley deleted her Instagram account. It felt like ripping off a piece of her soul. But the moment she did it, she felt something unexpected. Relief. The pressure to post. The pressure to keep up. The pressure to look perfect. Gone. Just gone. She cried, but they were different tears. Not loss. Release. Next came the car. Tyler loved his Jeep. But the payment was $540 a month, and it was worth about $18,000 with $12,000 still owed. Mark suggested they sell it, pay off the loan and use the remaining $6,000 as their emergency fund, then buy a cheap used car for cash. Tyler hated the idea, but he knew Mark was right. In January of 2023, they sold the Jeep. It hurt, but they did it. They paid off the car loan and bought a 10-year-old Honda Civic for $4,000. It wasn't cool, it wasn't Instagram-worthy, but it was paid for, and that felt surprisingly good. Next was the apartment. $1,200 a month was killing them. They found a smaller one-bedroom in a less trendy neighborhood for $700. It meant downsizing significantly, selling furniture, letting go of the aesthetic, but it saved them $500 a month. In February, they moved. Tyler and Ashley stood in their new, much smaller apartment and looked around. "This is humbling," Tyler said. Ashley nodded. "But we did this. We made these choices, and we can make different choices now." Mark helped them create a bare-bones budget. Rent, $700. Utilities, $100. Groceries, $400 maximum. Gas, $100. Phone, $100. Insurance, $200. Minimum credit card payments, $2,600. Total, $4,200. Their income was $5,400. That left $1,200 a month extra. Mark's plan was to use that $1,200 to attack their debt, using the debt snowball method. List every debt from smallest to largest. Pay minimums on everything except the smallest. Attack the smallest with every extra dollar. When it's gone, roll that payment into the next smallest debt. The payments get bigger as you go, like a snowball rolling downhill. Their smallest debt was a card with $2,200 on it. With $1,200 a month to attack it, plus the $180 minimum they were already paying, they could pay $1,380 a month. That card would be gone in less than 2 months. Tyler and Ashley had never paid off a debt entirely. Ever. The idea of eliminating one felt revolutionary, but Mark had one more requirement. You both need second jobs, immediately. $1,200 a month isn't enough. You need to get aggressive. You need to throw every extra dollar at this mountain. Tyler and Ashley agreed. Tyler started delivering food for DoorDash evenings and weekends. Ashley got a job waiting tables at a restaurant Friday and Saturday nights. They were exhausted, working their day jobs, then their night jobs, then collapsing into bed. But they were making progress. Tyler was pulling in an extra $600 a month from DoorDash. Ashley was making $800 from the restaurant. That was $1,400 extra. Combined with the $1,200 margin from their tightened budget, they now had $2,600 a month to attack debt. That was huge. With that kind of intensity, they could pay off $107,000 in under 4 years. Not fast, but possible. In March of 2023, Tyler and Ashley made their first extra payment, $1,380, toward the smallest card. It felt incredible, empowering. For the first time in years, they felt like they were fighting back instead of just drowning. In April, they paid another $1,380. The card balance dropped to zero, gone, eliminated, destroyed. They literally jumped up and down in their tiny apartment celebrating. 1 down, 10 to go. They rolled that $180 minimum payment into the next debt, a card with $3,400 on it. Now, they were paying $1,560 a month toward that card. By June, it was gone. 2 debts eliminated in 4 months. They'd paid off $5,600 in total. Still had over $100,000 to go, but momentum was building. The summer of 2023 was hard, really hard. They were working constantly. No vacations, no restaurants, no fun money. Just work, budget, pay debt, repeat. Their friends stopped inviting them places because they always said no. Tyler's co-workers would go out for drinks after work and he'd decline. Ashley would see her friends posting brunch photos and feel left out. But every time they were tempted to give up, they'd look at their debt tracker. 3 debts down, 8 to go. Total paid so far, $12,000. They were making real progress. In August, something unexpected happened. Tyler's boss called him into the office. "Tyler, you've been doing great work. I'm promoting you to senior account manager and giving you a $10,000 raise." Tyler was floored. He'd been working so hard at his side hustle that he'd actually been putting in less effort at his day job, or so he thought. Turns out, the discipline and focus he'd developed dealing with his financial crisis had made him better at everything. He was sharper, more productive, more responsible. That raise brought their household income to $95,000 a year. But Tyler and Ashley made a critical decision. They didn't inflate their lifestyle. They kept living on the same tight budget and threw the entire raise at debt. Now they had $3,600 a month to attack the remaining $95,000. At that rate, they could be debt-free in under 3 years. By December 2023, 1 year after starting the program, Tyler and Ashley had paid off 6 of their 11 credit cards. They'd eliminated $43,000 in debt. They still had $64,000 to go, but they'd proven to themselves that this was possible, that they could change, that they weren't destined to be in debt forever. On New Year's Eve 2023, Tyler and Ashley sat in their small apartment reflecting on the year. 12 months ago, we were drowning, lying, hiding, fighting. Today, we're not perfect, but we're honest. We're fighting together instead of against each other. We're making progress, Ashley said. I don't miss Instagram. I thought I would, but I don't. I'm happier now than I was when I had 12,000 followers, because this is real. That was fake. Tyler agreed. I don't miss the Jeep either, or the fancy apartment. I miss the feeling of not being stressed about money. And we're getting that back, slowly. But we're getting it back. Through 2024, they kept grinding. Tyler continued DoorDash. Ashley kept waiting tables. They stuck to their budget religiously. They tracked every dollar. They said no to things they wanted because they were saying yes to something bigger. Freedom. Peace. A real future. In April 2024, they paid off their 7th card. In July, the 8th. In October, the 9th. By the end of 2024's SAD, 2 years after starting, they had 2 cards left totaling $18,000. They'd paid off $89,000. They were so close to the finish line, they could taste it. In February of 2025, They made their final payment, $18,000 gone. Tyler was on his way home from a DoorDash delivery when he made the online payment. He pulled over in a parking lot and called Ashley. "It's done. We're done. We're debt-free," Ashley screamed, cried, laughed. She was at the restaurant on her shift and her co-workers thought she'd lost her mind. That night, Tyler and Ashley sat in their small apartment, the same apartment they'd moved to out of necessity, and just held each other. 2 years and 3 months, from $107,000 in debt to zero. They hadn't won the lottery. They hadn't gotten an inheritance. They just worked, sacrificed, stayed disciplined, made 1,000 small decisions that added up to freedom. The next week, they went back to Mark and Jennifer's financial peace class, not as participants, but as guest speakers. They told their story, the Instagram lifestyle, the secret debt, the fights, the fear, the decision to get radical, the sacrifices, the slow, hard progress, the victory. The room was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone. People came up afterward with tears in their eyes. If you can do it, maybe we can too. Tyler and Ashley's story teaches 7 powerful lessons that can transform anyone's relationship with money and success. First, comparison is a thief. Ashley's Instagram account wasn't just harmless fun. It was a constant comparison machine that drove her to spend money trying to keep up with people she didn't even know. Social media can be toxic for your finances because it makes you feel like everyone else is doing better than you. They're not. They're probably just as broke and just as good at hiding it. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Second, lifestyle inflation is deadly. Every time Tyler and Ashley got a raise, they increased their spending instead of their savings. They thought making more money would solve their problems. It didn't, because they spent every dollar they made plus more. The key to wealth isn't making more money. It's the gap between what you make and what you spend. If you make $100,000 and spend $100,000, you're broke. If you make $50,000 and spend $40,000, you're winning. Third, you can't budget your way out of a lifestyle problem. Tyler and Ashley tried to budget multiple times and failed. Why? Because they weren't willing to change their lifestyle. They wanted to keep the apartment, keep the car, keep spending on clothes and restaurants, and just magically have money left over. It doesn't work that way. If your expenses exceed your income, you have to cut expenses or increase income, preferably both. There's no magical budget that makes math stop mathing. Fourth, debt destroys relationships. Tyler and Ashley were fighting constantly, not because they didn't love each other, but because financial stress was crushing them. Money fights are the #1 cause of divorce in America, not because money is evil, but because debt creates pressure, secrets, and resentment. Getting out of debt saved their marriage as much as it saved their finances. Fifth, intensity matters more than time. Tyler and Ashley could have taken 10 years to pay off their debt making minimum payments. Instead, they got radical. Second jobs, tiny apartment, used car, no extras, and they paid it off in just over 2 years. If you want normal results, do what normal people do. If you want extraordinary results, you have to do extraordinary things. Gazelle intensity. That's what it takes. Sixth, community and accountability are essential. Tyler and Ashley couldn't do this alone. They needed Mark and Jennifer. They needed the financial peace class. They needed people who'd been where they were and could show them the way out. If you're trying to get out of debt alone, you're making it harder than it needs to be. Find a program, find a mentor, find a community. You need people who will tell you the truth and cheer you on. Seventh, freedom is worth the sacrifice. Tyler and Ashley gave up 2 years of their lives. No vacations, no restaurants, no fun money. They worked exhausting schedules, drove beat-up cars, lived in a tiny apartment. It sucked, but now they're free. And that freedom is worth every sacrifice they made, because now they can build wealth instead of just servicing debt. They can save for a house, for kids, for their future. They can be generous. They can actually live instead of just surviving. Now I want to speak directly to you. Maybe you're hiding debt like Tyler and Ashley were. Maybe you're pretending to have it together while you're secretly drowning. Maybe you're living for Instagram likes while your bank account is in the red. Maybe your lifestyle is crushing you and you don't know how to stop. Here's what I need you to hear. You're not alone. You're not the only one faking it. You're not beyond help. But you have to get honest. You have to stop hiding. You have to stop pretending. And you have to get radical about change. Cutting back a little won't work. You need dramatic change. Second jobs, smaller apartment, cheaper car, no eating out, no shopping, no extras. For a season, not forever, but for long enough to break free. Tyler and Ashley were 28 and 27 when they got serious. Now they're 30 and 29. They're debt-free. They have $28,000 in an emergency fund. They're saving for a house. They've started investing, and they're helping other young couples escape the trap they were in. Your age doesn't disqualify you. Your mistakes don't disqualify you. Your only question is, are you ready to do what it takes? If you're still watching, leave a comment. Tell me where you are. Are you hiding debt? Are you ready to get honest? Are you in the middle of paying it off? Or are you on the other side celebrating freedom? Let's build a community where people can be real about money instead of pretending they have it all together. Tyler and Ashley would tell you that deleting Instagram was the best decision they ever made, that driving a used Honda was more freeing than a financed Jeep, that living in a tiny apartment was better than living in a beautiful one they couldn't afford, because freedom beats the appearance of success every single time. If they can pay off $107,000 in 2 years while working multiple jobs and living in a tiny apartment, you can tackle your debt too. Whatever it is, however much, it's possible. Not easy, not fast, not fun, but possible. And the freedom on the other side is worth every sacrifice you'll make to get there. So stop hiding, stop pretending, stop comparing, get honest, get help, get radical, and get free. Your Instagram perfect life might be impressive, but your actually free life will be legendary. A verse for your meditation. Owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. Romans 13:8.